And many of you talked about how your programs were addressing barriers, whether it was hardware, digital literacy, accessibility in terms of cost, etc. Talk to me about impact. You know, it sounded like we're able to measure number of hours trained, number of people, but what are you all thinking about in terms of looking at long-term impact of these programs on your communities? Just open it up to the floor.
Well, one of our impacts that we're looking at as the state library is capacity building in public libraries. It's certainly part of sustainability and in our grant, how to help libraries continue to reach out to their customer to help them with their digital literacy needs. So that capacity building is about training, how you do training, how we can help you. Can you send your staff while we're there, your friends, anybody, you know, to get some people in the building of that library that could continue offering training classes. About a third of the libraries right now offer digital literacy training. So we're trying to promote that capacity within the public libraries because we think the library will be better off, their towns will be better off. The other thing that we're really looking at in terms of impact is our classes about small businesses, or classes for small businesses, because we think that while the libraries traditionally have helped everybody through their door, sometimes that everybody is not the most powerful citizen in the town. And if you go to your mayor and say we need more money because we're helping people file for unemployment, that's something the library should do. However, if you go to your mayor with, you know, a small business group or a chamber of commerce group and say, you know, we need more money because we're helping small businesses get started, run their businesses from home, learn how to do management and marketing online. I think that's an amazing resource for our public library to build. If they don't have it already, many we're finding do not have such active outreach to their small business and entrepreneurial community. And in small rural towns of New Mexico, that is, in fact, there are always people who are furniture makers or jewelry makers who are trying to do something from that small town. So I think that's another aspect of capacity building in public libraries that we think will have an impact for the library and their town.
Anybody else want to answer that? Mary Ann, then Tom.
I would have to echo the connection to small business. We really believe that public libraries as anchor institutions have had to reach out to small businesses. And we have seen that just in this last month, I did actually collect a statistic, and our public computing centers and e-mobile centers report providing over 1,500 hours of instruction and service aimed directly toward their local business community. And it is the type of instruction that is topical training, technical expertise, soft skills, and our libraries are modeling. They have had to create websites, they have had to post their materials online and make it accessible to the public. They have had to make things that are easy for people to understand and use. And I think that model of accessibility and ease of use is a model for small businesses. So I think that is one, I really have to echo that. Probably my other impact that I think is as important is that the ways that our libraries are partnering with community anchor institutions, because I personally believe we have seen 186 unique partnerships throughout the state. All public computing centers are partnering with Department of Labor or one-stops. But I mean there are 186 unique partnerships, and I think that all community anchor institutions need models for different ways of doing business. And I think that this project is enabling our public computing centers to create those new models and new service methods.
One of the impacts that we we've seen that has had a certain amount of, brings a certain amount of joy to my heart is the accessibility and the use of digital tools by our community partners to coordinate a program over 7 cities all across the country. We've had to leverage WebEx. We use a variety of other tools like Basecamp, which is a project management tool. And this has really had an impact on each of these programs in terms of how they will, in the future, deal with programming and actually expand their reach. They're not limited now by just either an email communication or how far they can drive in a day. And this has really had a huge impact. And we've also had established an online learning environment based on the open source application Moodle. And this is something that was foreign, something that everybody's eyes opened and said, well, what is this thing that you're going to enter attendance in here, and we're going to keep our curriculum here, and we're going to be able to have classes, and the classes are even going to be able to go on without the instructor being involved. So those kind of impacts are going to be huge for the community organizations that we're working with now, and very long lasting.
Deb, did you want to add something?
Just specific data. I'm a real data person. So we did a lot of pre-surveys and post-surveys, and one of the pre-surveys we asked our parents, is this the first time you have been involved in an experience in your child's school? And 65% of the parents said yes, but those are the English speakers. The non-English speakers, 84% said it was the first time they had participated in their child's school. Now at the end we say, will you be more involved? And 99% of our families say yes. And not only does the data say that, but we hear that from families and schools, that the parents are far more involved. And the other thing, sort of the anecdotal pieces, we're giving parents who are non-English speakers Rosetta Stone online for 2 years. And we've gotten parents who've written to us or called us and said, I got a job. They couldn't get a job because they didn't have enough English. They only needed enough, but they didn't have enough. And so that, to me, is those kinds of stories that we hear about, where families are able to then move on to that next level in their lives. Those are the ones that really make a difference for me. The parent who we connected after Tech Goes Home to a college program for technology because she discovered she loved technology. That kind of impact, one at a time, is really quite lovely and keeps you motivated to keep doing the work.